Some wonders leave behind stone. Others leave behind silence. Of all the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon remain the most haunting. Not because they were the tallest, or the richest, or the most powerful, but because no one can say with certainty where they were. For centuries, the ancient world remembered them as a miracle of water and green life rising above the dry plains of Mesopotamia. A mountain built by human hands. A palace garden lifted into the sky. Terraces heavy with trees, roots hidden inside layers of stone, water flowing where no river should have climbed. And yet, when modern archaeology turned toward Babylon, searching for the bones of this legendary wonder, the ground gave back only fragments. No confirmed foundation. No terraces. No royal inscription declaring, with certainty, here stood the garden. The most beautiful garden in ancient history may have vanished so completely that it left behind no proof at all. Or perhaps the world has been searching in the wrong city. The mystery begins in Babylon, one of the greatest capitals the ancient world had ever seen. By the 6th century BCE, under the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon had become a city built to astonish. Its walls rose from the plain like a statement of imperial power. Its temples towered above crowded streets. Its palaces, gates, and processional avenues were designed not merely to house a kingdom, but to make visitors feel the weight of an empire. This was a city that wanted to be remembered. Babylon did not hide its greatness. It proclaimed it in brick, in glazed color, in monumental architecture, in royal inscriptions that celebrated what its kings had built. And this is what makes the Hanging Gardens so strange. Because if Nebuchadnezzar truly created one of the most extraordinary wonders of the ancient world, why do his own surviving inscriptions remain silent about it? They speak of walls, they speak of temples, they speak of palaces, but they do not clearly name the Hanging Gardens. In history, silence is rarely empty. Sometimes, the missing sentence becomes louder than the monument itself. And yet the legend refused to die. Ancient writers described a garden unlike anything else in Mesopotamia. They spoke of massive stone terraces, rising one above another, as if a mountain had been carved and planted inside a royal city. They imagined deep layers of soil strong enough to hold mature trees. They described palms, vines, shaded paths, and water lifted upward from below, feeding a world of green life in the middle of a dry empire. To the ancient imagination, this was not just a garden. It was a rebellion against the desert. Later tradition gave the wonder an emotional origin. The gardens, it was said, were built by Nebuchadnezzar for a queen who missed the mountains and forests of her homeland. In the flat, sun-baked world of Babylon, he created an artificial mountain for her, a private landscape of memory, love, and imperial power. It is a beautiful story, but beauty is not evidence. And the deeper we look, the more the Hanging Gardens seem to hover between history and dream. Could such a structure have existed? Technically, yes. The ancient world was capable of astonishing feats of engineering. Mesopotamian builders understood canals, irrigation, brickwork, waterproofing, and monumental construction. They had shaped rivers, drained marshes, raised walls, and transformed landscapes long before the gardens entered legend. But the challenge would have been enormous. A true elevated garden required far more than stone and ambition. The terraces had to support heavy soil, tree roots, constant moisture, and the pressure of irrigation. They had to resist collapse, erosion, and leakage. Water had to be brought upward day after day from river level to the higher platforms. In a land where heat could punish every living thing, keeping such a garden alive would have required continuous labor and remarkable design. That may be exactly why the story became so powerful. Kings could build walls. Kings could command armies. Kings could raise temples to the gods. But to raise a living mountain from dry earth, to make trees grow above a city of baked brick, was something different. It was a message to the world. We can make the impossible grow. For a long time, scholars looked for that impossible garden inside Babylon itself. One theory placed it somewhere within the royal palace complex, perhaps above vaulted chambers that could have supported heavy terraces. Excavations revealed unusual foundations, thick walls, and a well-like structure that seemed, at least to some early interpreters, to hint at something extraordinary. Could these have been the hidden supports of the lost wonder? Could the garden have stood above them, its trees long gone, its soil washed away, its stone broken and reused? For a moment, the ruins seemed to whisper yes. But archaeology is cautious with whispers. Many later scholars argued that those remains were not enough. Vaulted chambers can belong to a palace without proving a world wonder. A well can suggest water without proving a garden. Brick foundations can support many things. The evidence was intriguing, but it was not decisive. And so the mystery moved, not south, deeper into Babylon, but north toward another ancient capital, Nineveh. Nineveh was the great Assyrian city of King Sennacherib, a ruler who understood spectacle as well as any king of Babylon. He built palaces meant to overwhelm the senses. He carved victories into stone. He reshaped water systems across the landscape. And unlike Babylon, Nineveh preserves stronger royal claims of extraordinary garden engineering. Sennacherib described bringing water from distant mountains through canals and aqueducts, transforming the land around his palace. He spoke of creating a garden that imitated a mountain landscape, a place of trees, water, height, and royal display. A high garden, a green mountain, a landscape engineered to astonish. To some modern scholars, this is the key that unlocks the entire mystery. Perhaps the hanging gardens were real, but they were not in Babylon. Perhaps they stood at Nineveh, created by an Assyrian king, and only later became attached to Babylon in the memory of Greek writers. It sounds surprising at first, but ancient memory does not always preserve geography with precision. Stories travel, names shift, empires fall, cities are destroyed, rebuilt, renamed, misunderstood. Later writers often inherited fragments, secondhand accounts, translations, rumors, political labels, and memories already distorted by time. Babylon, to the Greek imagination, could become more than a city. It could become a symbol of Mesopotamian power, luxury, and ancient strangeness. A magnificent garden from Assyria might, over generations, be absorbed into the larger legend of Babylon. If that happened, then the world's most famous lost garden may have been misplaced by history itself. But the Nineveh theory does not end the debate, because the ancient descriptions do not all agree. Some details still seem to fit Babylon. Others point more convincingly north. Some accounts may describe a real place. Others may repeat older stories, embellish them, or combine several traditions into one legendary image. This is what makes the Hanging Gardens unlike the other wonders. The Great Pyramid still stands against the Egyptian sky. The ruins of temples can still be measured. The remains of great statues, walls, and sanctuaries can still be placed on a map. But the Hanging Gardens exist in a different realm. They are built from descriptions, absences, fragments, theories, and longing. Their power comes not from what we can touch, but from what we cannot quite prove. Imagine the scene as ancient visitors may have heard it described. A palace rising above the heat of Mesopotamia, its upper levels softened by shade, its stone terraces breaking into green layers of life, water murmuring through channels, date palms and foreign trees bending over walls, roots buried in engineered earth, light falling through leaves where there should have been only dust. To see such a place would have felt almost supernatural. But nothing supernatural was required. Only empire, only labor, only engineering, only the will of a king determined to make nature obey architecture. That is why the garden, whether in Babylon or Nineveh, would have been more than decoration. It was a political statement. It declared that royal power could command not only people and armies, but rivers, mountains, and seasons. It could bring distant landscapes into the heart of a city. It could turn absence into abundance. A garden like that was never just a garden. It was imperial theater. And then time did what time always does. The rivers shifted, Mud brick crumbled, water systems failed, trees died, terraces collapsed, or were dismantled or vanished beneath later ruins. What was living became dust. What was engineered became indistinct. What was famous became uncertain. And the wonder that once symbolized human mastery over nature became a lesson in how fragile mastery truly is. If the gardens stood in Babylon, they disappeared without leaving a clear signature. Perhaps their materials were reused. Perhaps their foundations were misidentified. Perhaps the remains still lie hidden beneath layers of destruction and reconstruction, waiting for a future discovery to change everything. If the garden stood at Nineveh, then the legend survived under the wrong name, a real Assyrian achievement remembered as a Babylonian marvel. And if the gardens were partly memory, partly exaggeration, partly the merging of several royal landscapes into one impossible vision, then their story reveals something equally important. The ancient world did not remember wonders only because they existed. It remembered them because they meant something. The Hanging Gardens meant abundance in a land of heat. They meant beauty raised above dust. They meant grief answered by architecture. They meant empire turning water into spectacle. They meant the dream of building a mountain where no mountain belonged. And perhaps that is why the mystery has endured for so long. A confirmed ruin would give us an answer, but absence gives us a question. And questions can live for thousands of years. Somewhere between Babylon and Nineveh, between royal propaganda and Greek memory, between archaeology and imagination, the Hanging Gardens still rise. Not as stone, not as trees, not as flowing water, but as one of history's most beautiful uncertainties. A vanished garden became immortal because the world never stopped searching for it. And maybe that is the final wonder. Not that the gardens disappeared, but that, after more than 2,000 years, they still refuse to be forgotten.